City Chiefs.
Whoa.
And it's coming up next.
Hold up.
It's the venue that's had plenty.
Oh,
It's GEHA
There we
Field
go.
at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Joined by a former
Make sure
NFL
we are good
quarterback
to
up
go.
in the booth, Mr. Brock Heward. I'm Kate Scott.
Good.
You can brag if you'd like to, because I know you had
Good.
quite the big arm in your days with the Huskies and the Seahawks in Seattle. Well, we got a couple of quarterbacks
All right,
here.
you're good.
who Also
You're good.
know how to
You're
push
good.
that football down the field.
Yeah, you got a couple QBs who are going to keep these defenses honest today, because the moment they get greedy in coverage and get too aggressive in the pocket, either of these
Oh,
quarterbacks
God,
can
look
drop
at this,
a
man.
dime, drop a deep throw
Craziness.
right over him for big yardage.
Oh,
maybe
perfect.
6 points too.
Justin Tucker has this all teed up.
All right.
And we're off from Arrowhead. This return starts at the 5.
A few things to do here.
This return gets to the 30
Where's
before
ball?
he stopped. Well, here come the Chiefs, taking the field for their first drive of
Let's
the
see. This is
game.
running
Leading them out,
fine.
someone who Brock I think needs less introduction
get
than
this
anyone in
done
the NFL today. It's Patrick
As
Mahomes.
quickly as
All of us as
possible.
sports fans, we know those players in the other sports
So
that
we
when we
can
just
get
think of
into
the
our
greatest
take.
to ever do it,
Ah,
a skill
man,
set
it's
that's
gonna
different
suck
than
'cause I'm
everybody
still
else,
trying to
immediately a player pops
my
in your
usual
mind.
stuff
And while
here.
we have seen goats like
And I'm
Tom Brady
technically
and
not ready
Super Bowl
yet.
winners many times over like
So,
Bradshaw, Montana, and Aikman, there's just not many that have ever done it with the flair, the style, and the skill set of Patrick Mahomes.
Call it no gain on that run, and they face 2nd and 10.
God.
Made it all look so simple, didn't he? That linebacker sorting right through the traffic, finding the runner. That's instincts come to life.
I'm not even ready. Copy.
From the gun,
You
it's
know what?
Mahomes.
It makes better sense to just pause
On
this.
target
I'm
to
not even
Worthy.
playing the game right now. Pause. All right. Let me take care of what I need to here. All right. All right. We should be good to go here, and we can get started. Because I gotta go as quickly as I can. Okay, all right. We are good. One last thing before we get started. Oh, for God's sakes. Yes, I'm in. Do not make me have to do a whole bunch of... There we go. Thanks. All right. We are good to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ravens flock, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. I'm going to be honest, this is going to be brief. We're going to try to keep it within an hour because the Lakers are playing the Celtics tonight, and I want to go watch that game. I absolutely will be watching the Lakers-Celtics game. So in order for me to do that, I got to get this out as quickly as I possibly can. But we talked about this the other day. When was this? I think we talked on Thursday? So not 48 hours have passed since we talked about this. On Thursday, we were speaking of some of the things that were happening with the Ravens in terms of free agency coming up, what potential moves that they're going to make, all this other stuff. And I mentioned one of the topics of discussion was Ronnie Stanley and the Ravens trying to give Ronnie Stanley a contract for the next few years. So I sat back and said, in terms of free agency, don't expect the Ravens to do anything big. The Ravens aren't a team that goes and makes a bunch of free agency moves. The Ravens do this all the time. They make one huge splash play in free agency, and that's it. Last year was Derrick Henry. The year before it was Odell. The year before that it was Marcus Williams. This year, my guess is going to be Jair Alexander, especially because Brandon Stevens is most likely not coming back. So Brandon Stevens is most likely not coming back, and because of that, I'm suspecting they're going to go try to trade for a corner during free agency. That's my big acquisition for the most part. So we'll see how that goes. That's an easy pick. We'll see how that goes. but I'm suspecting it's going to end up being Jair Alexander. That's just how it works. But one of the things we talked about was Ronnie Stanley getting his deal, and I was concerned. I was absolutely concerned that this may not happen, specifically because Ronnie Stanley was going to have a huge market if he would go into free agency. There was no way Ronnie Stanley was not going to have a huge market if he would have gone to free agency. There are teams that desperately need a left tackle. One of those teams being the Kansas City Chiefs. KC desperately needs a left tackle right now, and Ronnie Stanley was one of the guys they were eyeing. They were definitely looking to target him. If Ronnie Stanley would have gone into free agency, there is not a doubt in my mind that Stanley would have got a monster deal from the Chiefs. They probably would have gave him $25 million a year. It would have been a huge contract. So I was concerned that we weren't going to end up getting a deal done before free agency kicked off, and all of a sudden we'd be in the position where Ronnie Stanley goes to test out the market, gets a huge deal from a team like the Chiefs, or maybe a team like the Patriots that would probably throw a monster bag at him. I didn't know what it was going to be, but if Ronnie Stanley hit free agency, many of us believed he was not coming back. And Ronnie Stanley himself, obviously we know his injury history. He played like one of the best left tackles in football. He was an all-pro left tackle when we gave him that first contract. And then, unfortunately, he suffered a brutal injury that basically set him back for pretty much the entirety of his contract. 3 years of his career was taken away due to that horrible injury. It took a lot of work to get back to where he needed to be. But he put the work in and eventually got back to it. And that's what we got from him last year. Last year was the best season of his career since the injury. It was the first time Ronnie Stanley looked like the left tackle we initially paid for. And it was the first time he played at a near all-pro level since the time we gave him the contract. So Ronnie Stanley coming off of a great year, coming off of a year where he did play borderline elite, borderline all-pro left tackle esque, and we knew we needed to get him a long-term contract, or at least conversations were being made about that. I said going into the offseason, the Ravens had to take a look at their offensive line. You're already set on two spots with Roger Rosengarten at your right tackle position, and of course Tyler Linderbaum at the center position. Falele is somebody that the Ravens love, so it seems like he's going to be at that spot. Most of us predict that for the most part. But it's possible if they do get other options, they could look to test that side and rotate and see what they get from it. I'm not predicting that, but it's possible that they could do that they don't feel fully comfortable, or if Falele shows some struggles at some point. So due to that, I'm not fully sure if Falele is going to have that spot permanently, but I do expect him to be our starting right guard heading into the season. Now, as for the left guard position, Patrick McCarry is not coming back. We don't expect him to come back. So that's an aspect that needed to be figured out, which basically left you in a position where you had to take a look at the left tackle position, because Ronnie Stanley was a question mark as to whether or not the Ravens were going to keep him long term. And we all hoped they would keep him long term, because if you look at how things are right now, let's be honest.
They come to the line here. This is 3rd and 6.
The left tackle. This isn't really an off season that you don't. This is not an off season that you want to look for a left tackle. This is not the year to be looking for a left tackle in the draft. This is not a year to try to look for a left tackle in free agency if there's nobody good there. So this wouldn't have been the year for the Ravens to just sit back and say, you know what, we can risk losing Ronnie Stanley. Let's instead just let him go to free agency. We'll go pick someone up in the draft. If they lose Ronnie Stanley, they're going to have to reach in the first round, and nobody wants them to do that. That would have been horrible. Back-to-back seasons of losing key contributing factors in your offensive line. That would have been a horrible look. So we needed them to try to get this done. But we knew Ronnie Stanley was going to be expensive. So we just hoped the Ravens would get something done. Well, they found a way to do it. I gotta give a huge shout out to Ronnie Stanley, because Buddy took a team-friendly deal. You cannot tell me this guy did not take a team-friendly deal. Shout out to Ronnie Stanley for taking a team-friendly deal. That is exactly what he did. You cannot deny that he took a team-friendly deal. The news came out about 2 hours ago, in fact. It came out about 2 hours ago that the Ravens have officially re-signed Pro Bowl offensive tackle, obviously, Ronnie Stanley, to a 3-year deal worth $60 million, with $44 million of that guaranteed. So a 3-year, $60 million extension for Ronnie Stanley. That's $20 million a year for this guy. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better circumstance. You couldn't have asked for a better circumstance. A 3-year, $60 million deal. That's $20 a year for a left tackle that plays at a near all-pro level. You couldn't have, oh, that's perfect defense, guys. You couldn't have asked for a better situation. You couldn't have asked for a better team-friendly deal. Because, let's keep it a being, guys. If Ronnie Stanley would have gone into free agency, he's going to Kansas City most likely. The Chiefs were eyeing him, desperately eyeing him. There was no way they were going to let anybody else take him. The Chiefs were eyeing this guy. Kansas City needs a left tackle right now. They desperately need a left tackle. That is the biggest weakness on their offense. That left tackle position. They need somebody to protect Mahomes' blind spot. And Ronnie Stanley would have been the perfect fit for them. And everybody knows it. That's why everybody was eyeing Ronnie Stanley and paying close attention to how that situation was going to go in Baltimore. If the Ravens sat back and let Ronnie Stanley leave, he was going to Kansas City, and that was going to be a huge detriment to the Ravens and a monstrous game for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Ravens couldn't afford to let that happen, so obviously they worked to get something done. And boy, did they get something done. Not only did they get something done to keep him here for the next few years, they got it done at a deal that's technically a steal, given his talent and his experience and what he's been able to accomplish in his career. It's a steal. Oh, come on. It's a legitimate steal. It is a legitimate steal because if he goes into that market, Kansas City would have thrown him $25 million. New England probably would have thrown him more because they also need a left tackle and they desperately want one for Drake May. So it would have been a very, very, very eventful free agency for Ronnie Stanley. And there's no way he's coming back if he gets to go into free agency. So, yeah, he essentially sacrificed a lot of money to stay in Baltimore. This is a team-friendly deal. He sacrificed a lot. So, shout out to Ronnie Stanley because he sacrificed a lot. He could have had so much more, and he willingly chose to take less. He took a team-friendly deal and decided to stay in Baltimore. So shout out to Ronnie Stanley for that. Also great to see because that means Kansas City, they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do at left tackle because Ronnie Stanley would have been the perfect fit for them, and now he stays in Baltimore. So with him staying in Baltimore, Kansas City is in a very, very tough position. Meaning they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do about that left tackle position. So there's a good chance they're going to have to reach in the draft for a left tackle. They're going to have to reach in that first round. Because Kansas City doesn't really have a lot of holes. Their defense is fine. No one's really concerned in Kansas City about the defense. They've got one of the best defenses in football. No one's overly concerned over there. And offensively, again, the weapons could be better, but they're not the biggest of concerns in terms of weapons in Kansas City, but that is something they will continue to address, obviously. But it's not the biggest of concerns for them. It's not the biggest of concerns. What's the concern is that left guard position, not left guard, that left tackle position. That's the biggest of concern. They need to protect Patrick Mahomes. So they were hoping they could get Ronnie Stanley. And since Stanley's now staying with Baltimore, Lamar can feel safe knowing his blind side is going to be protected. And Patrick Mahomes is going to have to look at his team and say, look, you guys are going to have to reach in the draft. I need a left tackle. We all know I need a left tackle. It's just something that's going to be needed. So, yeah, Baltimore gets the deal done, and they've essentially accomplished one of the three things I expect the Ravens to do in the offseason. Like I told you, the Ravens aren't a group that splurges on all these deals in free agency. They're not gonna sign a bunch of players. They're not gonna go out there and take a major risk by picking up by trading for a guy. So these moves where you guys are thinking, oh, they could go out and get DK Metcalf. That's not happening. They're not doing none of that. How did I not pick that? They're not doing that. They're not gonna make no huge splash play that makes you think, oh yeah. Who's calling me and what? Oh, of course. Give me a second, guys. All right, we back. All right. But yeah, I don't think the Ravens are going to reach for anybody because that's not how they operate. The Ravens aren't a team that operates in reaching for a huge player. That's not what they do. So don't expect a DK Metcalf to Baltimore to happen. Come on, it's a pick. That's not going to happen. I think what's going to happen with the Ravens is they're going to do what they always do. They're going to have this situation where they re-sign a player, like they did with Ronnie Stanley. Then they'll probably look to restructure some contracts and sign guys on smaller deals. That's what they do. And then the third thing they'll do is make one splash play in free agency, where they'll go out and get a player that could be beneficial for them. They've done it the last few years. Last year, their big splash play, Derrick Henry. The year before that, their big splash play, Odell. The year before that, their big splash play, Marcus Williams. This year, I'm feeling it's going to be Jair Alexander. They're probably going to get him from Green Bay. I think that could be the deal, but we'll see. But I just think the Ravens are going to make one big splash play and go from there. I don't expect to see them make multiple splash plays. Now, they may sign a couple of free agents, but it's going to be on smaller deals. Like maybe like a, you may see like a 2 million, 12, not 2 million, a 2-year, 10 million, or like a 2-year, 12 million deal for a lesser player in this situation. That is not a good idea. You know, they'll probably attempt to go after some of these free agents, but any of the top dogs, don't expect them to get anybody new. Like, I'm telling you guys this right now. Everyone always goes in every year and gets their hopes up, and the Ravens do what they've always done, and people just come after EDC's head because they want him to go get all these other players. And it's like, they don't operate like that. They're not going to go get a DK Metcalf. Get it out of your head. They're not going to go out and get a DK Metcalf. They're not going to go and sign a Davante Adams. I don't think it's going to happen. Unless that man wants to take a low deal. Like, I mean, he's got to take like one of the veteran minimums. Like, he's got to take a really low deal for me to see him potentially sign with Baltimore. But he's not going to do that. And since he's not going to do that, there's absolutely no reason to assume that he's coming to Baltimore, because he's not going to sign a lower deal. It's not going to happen. So Davante Adams to Baltimore, you can get that out of your head. That's not going to happen. DK Metcalf to Baltimore, I don't see that happening via trade. Now, again, who knows? I could very well be wrong. This could easily be a situation where EDC does something he's usually never done, because we've never seen him give up trade value for a huge piece such as a DK Metcalf. We've never seen him or the Ravens do that. So maybe they just surprise us. They shock the world. I don't see that happening, but they can shock the world. Who knows? Maybe they do shock the world. Davante Adams in free agency, they're probably not going to sign him. They're not. So, again, I don't see any of these splash plays happening, but Ravens Flock's going to do what they always do and delude themselves into thinking that Baltimore's going to be able to get those guys. And when it doesn't happen, they'll sit back and say EDC's a terrible GM, worst GM in the league, yada, yada, yada. We know the endless cycle that we like to fall into. And it's going to happen yet. What the heck? It's going to happen yet again. So I'm just telling you again, just for people that don't seem to understand or know how the Ravens like to operate, they're going to do one of three things. They've already done one now. Sign Ronnie Stanley to a multi-year deal because they know they need him. Number two, they're going to continue to restructure contracts, which is going to be something you're going to hear. You're going to see other teams making moves. Meanwhile, the Ravens are going to continue to restructure contracts. And then everyone's going to be like, the Ravens aren't making any moves to sign any players. You'll see all these players. This player going there. This player going there. This player going there. You're going to be sitting here through the first week or so of free agency. All these players are going to be moving to different locations, and Baltimore is going to be crickets. Then you're going to get a report from Baltimore that they've made they've signed somebody, and it's going to be one of the players that was on the team. They're going to sign them for a vet minimum or something like that. That's going to save them some cap space. This is what they do. They're not going to do that. Then, third but not least, they're going to go make that splash play in free agency, but it's only going to be that one move. And it's probably going to be a defensive player because they usually make that splash play. Last year was Derrick Henry, thankfully. The year before it was Odell. The year before that it was Marcus Williams. This year, I am really buying into the belief that they're going to make that splash play for Jair Alexander. They're not going to pay Brandon Stephens. I do not see a situation where Brandon Stephens is coming back to Baltimore. Someone's going to go give him a contract somewhere else, and Baltimore is going to look to try to get a hold of Jair Alexander from the Packers. That's where I think their deal is going to be. I would love to say J.C. Horn, but I don't see that happening. I'm not even going to delude myself. I think Jair Alexander is the big splash play the Ravens are going to make. They're going to try to get Jair here, especially because it seems like Green Bay at this point, they're willing to part ways with Jair as well. Jair doesn't look like he wants to return there either. So it's somewhat of a mutual decision, and Baltimore loves situations like that. So they would definitely look to bring Jair to Baltimore. I can absolutely see that happening. So I think those are the things that they're going to do. They're going to obviously give Ronnie Stanley's contract, which they've done. They're going to restructure contracts and sign guys on vet deals. And then they're going to try to make a splash play to go get somebody like a Jair Alexander. These are the things the Ravens are going to do. That's going to be their free agency. You're not going to hear much from them after that. They're not going to be highly active in picking up a bunch of guys. If you're lucky, they may try to go for one of these receivers on a lower deal. But it won't be the receiver you expect them to get. It will not be the receiver, not even the receiver you expect, the receiver you hope they get. It won't be that. The Ravens don't operate like that. I hate to tell you this, but they don't operate like that. So just prepare yourself for this because this is how it's going to be, and you're just going to have to deal with it however you feel it. But yeah, Ronnie Stanley staying with Baltimore, making sure Lamar's blind spot continues to get protected, and making sure Kansas City doesn't get a hold of him. Because, good Lord, if Kansas City would have got a hold of Ronnie Stanley, that would have been terrifying. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the most part. Not much to really talk about there, especially because free agency is going to start soon, and that's when things really start to heat up. But we don't know how things are going to go for the most part. Of course, he's open. We don't know how things are going to go for the most part, so we'll just have to wait and see. Curious, are you watching the Luka revenge game in Boston? Yes, I am. Matter of fact, as soon as I finish here, I'm definitely going to go look to watch that. Game doesn't start till 8:30, but I'll definitely be watching that for sure. Go get Myles Garrett and Henderson. Yeah, let's just stop. Let's stop deluding ourselves. I mean, I know you're just making a joke. You know damn well that's not going to happen. We don't need to... I tackled him. We don't need to pretend that's going to happen. We don't need to delude ourselves. Have y'all caught Justin Tucker yet? No, Justin Tucker is still on the team as of today. There has been no reports about them cutting him. He's still here. What's up, Real Love? That we re-signed Ronnie Stanley. I'm laughing. I'm laughing at the Chiefs and Pats fans who wanted Stanley so bad. I mean, that's cool. The Chiefs will figure it out. The Patriots, I don't know what they're going to do, but the Chiefs will figure it out. The Chiefs always find a way to figure it out. They'll make do with somebody. They will make do with somebody. Kansas City's not really somebody that you have to worry about when it comes to figuring out what they're going to do. When it comes to getting certain players, Kansas City will figure out that left tackle position. But New England, I don't know what they're going to do. I legitimately don't know what they're going to do. I'm not in a situation where it's like, oh, they'll figure it out. It's more so they really needed him. They really needed him. But it is what it is. I'm glad he's here. Why do you think Ronnie's deal took so long? Because of the money. It's simple. It's because of the money. He probably wanted more than what he. It was probably a situation where he wanted more than he initially got it. He probably wanted like maybe 22 million a year, something like that, or maybe he wanted more guaranteed money. It's probably one of those two. He probably wanted more guaranteed money, or he probably wanted 22. The Ravens were like, we can't give you that. And he's like, I could go get that type of money in free agency, but I don't want to leave. I'm willing to take a lesser deal to stay in Baltimore. His agent probably went to Baltimore and said, listen, we're trying to get a 3 or 4 year deal. We want to get 22, 23 million a year for him. And if you can make that happen, we're good to go. Baltimore's like, we can't afford to give him 22 or 23 million a year for 3 years. We can't afford that. And they probably have to negotiate and bring the number down and say, okay, listen, we're willing to work with you on a team-friendly deal. We want 20 million a year, a 3-year deal. Give us about 60 to 65 million. Make it about 20 million, and we'll be fine. And Baltimore, it took some time for them. The report said it took a little time to get out. Well, somebody reported and said it took a little bit of time for the Ravens to get up to 20 million. They probably offered him maybe around 17, 18. But, you know, they definitely were looking to get Ronnie Stanley on a really cheap deal. But Ronnie Stanley understands that he can get a lot on the market. He wants to stay in Baltimore, and he was willing to take a team-friendly deal, but Baltimore had to be willing to bargain and work with him in that situation and probably pay him a little bit more than they initially wanted to, which is why it took longer than we all thought it would. Essentially, it did get to where we all hoped it would get to, which is signing a deal, but it makes sense why it took longer than needed to be, because the Ravens had to work their way up to 20 million. Stanley probably took that team-friendly deal, and it took them a little bit of time before they finally decided, all right, we'll give you 20 million a year because free agency is coming back, and free agency is coming up, and we know if we let you become a free agent, you're going to get 25 million from the Chiefs, or the Patriots may even try to give you 27 million. Who knows? He was going to get a monster deal in free agency. He was absolutely going to get a monster deal in free agency if they let him go into the market. So they eventually budged and gave him 20 million. So yeah, the deal took so long because the Ravens had to work up to giving him a deal that Ronnie Stanley would be okay with. It's a deal that's team-friendly, and it's not the worst possible situation that's going to gut the Ravens, and it's not like it's a horrible contract where he's being finessed. It works on both sides, so it just took a little bit longer for the Ravens to get up to 20 million, but they did. His agent was probably actually around 22, 23 million a year, but they worked down to 20 million, and the Ravens were probably around 16, 17, maybe 18, and had to work their way up to 20. They settled on 20. What do I think about Joey Bosa coming to Baltimore? I don't see it happening, but the Ravens could make it if it's a team-friendly. If it's a small contract, even if it's a 1-year type thing, if it's a small contract, I can see the Ravens making that move. They're not going to pay top dollar for any free agent. It's not going to happen. Devontae Adams is not getting a huge contract in Baltimore. Neither is any of these other guys. If DK Metcalf was to be traded here, it would have to be a long-term contract that's worth a lot. And the Ravens don't have that type of money to pay him. Because a lot of people just think, okay, let's go trade this guy. And it's like, yeah, I get you want to trade for this guy, but do we have the money to trade for him? Like, some of y'all forget that you got to trade for him and then take on that contract. Or, if he's on the verge of finishing his contract, you've got to look to pay him towards a long-term deal. When they traded for Roquan Smith, they traded for Roquan Smith with the mindset of, we're giving him a multi-year deal because we want him to be in Baltimore for years to come. If they were to trade for DK Metcalf, they're going to have to give him some sort of extension, not only to keep him here longer and give him a deal that works for him and the team, but to also kind of shorten up that aspect to where the money they pay him on a yearly basis isn't as high as it would be if they were to take him on with his initial contract. It would be a whole bunch of stuff that they would have to deal with. But I don't see the Ravens trading for DK Metcalf. That's just not the type of deal I see happening. So, yeah, but for Joey Bosa, if it was a small-term deal, yeah, I could see the Ravens do that. They're not going to reach for anybody in free agency. They don't do that. That's never been the Ravens' motto. they're not going to pay out big contracts or reach for anybody that they don't feel they can give a long-term contract to. So, no, I don't see that. I don't see Adams coming here. I don't either. I don't see Adams coming here. I'm not even entertaining the thought of Devontae Adams on the Ravens. That's just a waste of time. He's not coming to Baltimore unless he's willing to take a team-friendly deal, which he's not signing for a low contract. He's going to get paid somewhere by somebody. Shock Tucker hasn't been cut yet. Teams don't usually make those type of moves. First of all, if they're going to cut him, they're going to wait until junior first. That's how it is. They don't want to have to. You usually wait until June 1st, until after June 1st before you make those type of decisions to cut somebody. So he's going to be there until then, at the very least. Past that, I don't know. But we've already heard that the Ravens have been, the Ravens are looking at kickers. So it's not like the conversations haven't been made and the actions and moving towards, moving towards getting a new kicker haven't already been in place. It definitely has been in place, so they're going to do that for the most part. Keenan Allen type of age, the type of age player the Ravens go after. Keenan Allen is somebody that they would look to go after. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. New England wanted to draft Travis Hunter, but now got to go left tackle. Oh no, they're still going to draft Travis Hunter. Oh, he missed a kick. They're still going to draft Travis Hunter. They're going to draft him. They're going to draft him. It's just they're going to have to figure out what they're going to do at left tackle, which is going to be a complete pain to deal with. But they'll figure something out, or they're going to have to figure something out. They ain't got no choice. Somebody's going to have to take that role. They're going to have to figure out whatever they can do at the time, because somebody is going to have to take that role. Launch it up. Oh, he got it. Beautiful. Cooper Kupp is an interesting one. I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening, but Cooper Kupp is definitely one I would love in Baltimore, because if there's anything Cooper Kupp has, is reliable hands. That dude catches everything, and you want to have reliable hands on your team. So yeah, I would absolutely love for Cooper Kupp to end up as a Raven, but we'll see. What about Marcus Williams, Roquan, and Matabike? None of those contracts were worth it. We should have moved on for the. Roquan Smith was worth it. First of all, Matabike just got his contract last year. I don't think you just make that assumption based off of 1 year, where Matabike didn't have the monster numbers he had prior to getting the contract, but he still had a relatively good year. So saying Matabike isn't worth it a year after getting his contract is crazy. Like, again, you don't move off of a guy a year afterward because he didn't put up the monster numbers he put up previously. His numbers took a dip, but he still had a great year. Or a relatively good year. And Roquan Smith, again, he's still one of the best linebackers in football. He's not Fred Warner. That's cool, I get it. But he's still one of the best linebackers in football. And assuming that he's not worth the deal, again, you take Roquan Smith off that team, you look at the linebacking core, and you go sit back and watch what Malik Harrison does on Sundays and watch you tear your hair out. You guys are really sitting back and just taking what Roquan Smith does for granted. Like, you guys, again, he's not the best linebacker in football, but he's one of the best. And you guys seem to take Roquan Smith for granted. Now, again, for early on in the season, absolutely Roquan Smith was not playing up to the standards that he was supposed to play at. Neither was Marlon Humphrey for the first 3 weeks of the season before Lamar called him out. Since Lamar called him out, Marlon Humphrey's arguably been the best corner in football. Roquan Smith for the first, 6-7 games of the season wasn't looking like the Roquan Smith we expected to see. No one's going to deny that. But afterwards, especially towards the second half of the season, Roquan Smith started to look like that guy again, which made people just believe that Roquan Smith was out of shape to start the season. Which, again, I wouldn't even say that's necessarily wrong. He did kind of look out of shape. So many people just sat back and said he was out of shape to start the season and got in shape by midseason. So he started to look like the Roquan Smith we expected to see. That's where it is. But again, you guys really like to just overlook what Roquan Smith does. Take out Roquan Smith from that middle, from the linebacking core. Put in Malik Harrison, and let's see how that works out for you. Hell, put in Trenton Simpson and see how that works out. Simpson showcased he was not ready. Simpson throughout the season showcased to us he was not ready just yet. He had flashes, but he was not ready. So again, you guys keep overlooking what Roquan Smith does for the team and see how that works out for you in the long run. Just see how that works out for you in the long run. But no, not saying we should move off. None of those guys are worth it. We should move off of them is just a mistake. Moving off of Roquan Smith with no reliable person back there is crazy. And people are forgetting that Matabike for most of the year actually got the treatment of a top tier pass rusher. Like for the first time in his career, they looked at him and said, "Oh, you're a legit threat. You know what's gonna happen? We're gonna double team you." Why do you think Adafe got so many sacks? Guess who was getting double teamed and leaving and getting left open? Matabike was getting double teamed for much of the season, and that allowed Adafe to get double-digit sacks for the first time in his career. Matabike, for the first time in his young career, saw what it was like to be considered one of the best at your position. And people actually respect you as one of the best at your position by double-teaming you. That's something he's going to have to adjust to. Okay, he's going to have to adjust to it just like the guys like the Micah Parsons, the Myles Garrett, and the TJ Watts and all these other guys have had to adjust dealing with the double teams. Matabike is going to have to adjust to the double teams. If he can't, then that's on him. But it was his first season having to deal with double teams constantly. And he didn't always do great, but there were times he was great and there were times he wasn't. Mixed bag in terms of how he handled double teams. But I'm not going to sit back and say we should move off of Matabike a year after giving him a contract and move off of Roquan Smith because y'all have personal agendas against him. No. You want to sit back and have Malik Harrison and Trenton Simpson be our linebackers? You go do that. And then when everything's getting terrible and we can't stop the run because we've got nobody in the linebacker position that can tackle, then you're going to sit back and say I miss Roquan Smith. Y'all do this all the time. Y'all do this all the time and it shows. What type of pass was that? It's only a matter of time of knowing what this team's motive is going to be. Probably the same thing. The Ravens don't change. They are who they are. They've always been who they've been, and they're not going to change for anybody. So everything I pointed out that the Ravens are going to do in the offseason, in free agency, that's what they're going to do. Don't expect no huge splash plays. EDC would have to go again. He would have to completely turn 180 and do something he hasn't showcased himself to do since he's been the GM of the Ravens. He would have to go against his own personal quota and methods of you know, approaching free agency and how he does things. He would have to do a complete 180 in order for us to get the deals that you guys want him to get. Give me this. Oh my God, I'm just reading Mahomes today. Look at that. How many picks is that? 3, 4? Just reading it today. Easy money. But yeah, the Ravens are going to be the Ravens, and they're going to do what they've always done. It's been the same thing over and over again. Don't expect anything to change from that. You know, if you're expecting it to change, you're just overthinking it at this point.
And their success.
Those poker players, the best of them, when they figure out a tell, they know exactly how to beat their opponent. This defense right now, they're reading this quarterback like
Why did he turn around?
That was Zay Flowers, the intended receiver. So second down.
We're probably going to sign Tyler Lockett.
he kind of looks like a cornerback on that.
That would be the Ravens type of move to make. You know, a veteran, been in the league for a long time, more on the older side. Oh God, no! Oh, that's BS. Oh, that's BS. I cannot believe this. Offensive line.
Motioning one of the tight ends.
Oy.
First and 10, it's Mahomes.
He's not going to throw me a gift.
Pass brought in.
Oh, God, Travis Kelce.
And he gets leveled.
But yeah, Tyler Lockett would probably... Tyler Lockett would probably be the guy. Probably be the guy they look for.
That's an extra bonus.
That's such a Ravens move. I wouldn't even be surprised.
Throwing now from the gun.
Just
close. And he'll pick up enough to move the chains. Timeout taken by Kansas City. It's second.
But yeah, I would suspect that they're for sure going to look into some of these smaller guys, but again, they're not going to make any huge splash plays. So don't expect anything major. The Ravens are who they are, and they're going to do the same thing. Definitely would not mind that at all. Tyler Lockett is so underrated. He is underrated. He is underrated. It'd be a nice piece to add. I wouldn't mind it. It's not a game changer, but I wouldn't mind it. What side do you think Travis Hunter is going to play most in the NFL? He's going to play both positions. The guy has been adamant that he's going to play both positions. And I'm willing to listen to a player that says they're going to play both positions. If he played both positions in college and he says, I'm going into the NFL and I'm going to play both positions, I'm willing to listen and see and give him a chance in believing his statement where he's like, I'm going to play. I got hit. I can make that play too. If I don't get hit, that's a touchdown. That's crazy. There's no way they're running this again. Now we'll see. No, they're not going to give me this. There's no way they're going to give me this. There's no way they're going to give me this. There's no way they're going to give me this. Oh my God, that's safe. Oh, I got hit again. Oh my God. 3 seconds left. I can still run this. Might as well. 3 seconds left. You get one last chance to throw it up before halftime. Help, help. Yes. Yes. Come on, buddy. Oh, God. All 3 times I got hit. That's crazy. I even rolled out to my right. How long is this man winding up the pass? But yeah, Travis is going to play both sides. Travis is going to play both sides. Matt BK was double teamed a lot of plays. Yeah, that's what happens when you're seen as one of the best in your positions and you get that big contract. They're going to treat you as such. Look at what Howie Roseman has done in terms of making moves and managing the cap. No one else in the league is Howie Roseman. No other GM's doing what Roseman's doing. So, yeah. Like, even the Rams, they sacrificed a lot. They sacrificed their future in order to get a Super Bowl. And it worked out for them. The Eagles aren't doing that. They're not sacrificing their future for the present. Howie Roseman has built that team both from the draft and through free agency by making big moves in the draft and big moves in free agency to trade and sign big players. So he's managed to build a championship contender now and has made them good enough to be able to compete for years to come. And if the Eagles are able to pull this off, they could be another dynasty in the making. And Howie Roseman is probably the best GM in football, and he's showcased that by the moves he's done. That's just how it is for the most part. Until EDC and Harbs are both gone, that won't change. EDC's not going anywhere again. He's technically, oh God, he's been come on. He's been one of the best GMs in football. No matter how much you guys have a problem with how he does things. The thing about it is you guys seem to have an issue that EDC is not Howie Roseman. That's your problem. Most franchises would love to have EDC as their GM. I feel like sometimes as Ravens fans, we tend to act a bit entitled as if EDC has not made great moves. I don't agree with every move he's made, and there's times where I wish he would be more aggressive, but it seems like at times us as fans just seem to be getting mad at EDC because he's not Howie Roseman, or he doesn't operate the same way Howie Roseman operates. Every GM operates differently. Roseman is willing to take those aggressive moves in hopes of it paying off, and ultimately it did. EDC is more calculated and wants to take advantage of some of the smaller deals. He won't go after a move unless he feels like he's going to finesse it to you. And sometimes it causes you to lose out on a lot of pieces, and other times it causes you to make a great decision. And that's just how it is. Sometimes you make a move for Marcus Williams, and other times you make a move for Roquan Smith, or you make a decision to draft Kyle Hamilton, and it worked out for you. So it just seems like a lot of people are getting pissed at EDC for not being Howie Roseman. That's just what it is. And yeah, Eagles fans were calling for Howie's job the past few years too. Yeah, they were calling for his job until they saw that he continued to make big move after big move, and it started making less and less sense. Eagles fans stopped calling for Howie's job when they got to the Super Bowl in 2022. That's when they're like, okay, Howie's actually doing a pretty great job, and we've got to be able to take advantage of it. EDC is one of the best GMs in football, and I don't agree with everything he does, and I wish he would be more aggressive, and there's a lot of things about about EDC that I would wish he would do, but I'm not going to sit back and act like this dude's a terrible GM that's not surrounded with Lamar with talent right now. Did he do that earlier on in Lamar's career? Hell no. He did not surround him with the offensive talent needed earlier on, but he's starting to do so now, so I have to give the man credit now about how he's handled things the last few seasons. Because that's actually been good.
Quarterbacks, well, they're a lot like sharpshooters in the NBA. Sometimes
So yeah, but as for Harbaugh, again, Harbaugh is entering the final year of his contract. There's been no talks about Harbaugh getting an extension, and people like me are having some suspicions that the Ravens are going to put that the Ravens are actually choosing to give Harbaugh an ultimatum, because you can't keep blowing in the playoff with a team like this. We can't continue to watch the Ravens be the best team in football. Good job, Owe. Can I get that for the 2? Is Owe fast enough to outrun everybody? Get this 2. Oh God. Oh God. Oh yes. Oh yes. Juju slow. Juju slow. Give me that 2. Give me that 2. Give me that 2. But yeah, you can't keep wasting the talent of this team. The Ravens can't keep being one of, if not the best team in football in the regular season, and then proceed to absolutely get cooked or just choke in the playoffs. At some point, you have to show up. And if they continue to go out there and fail, then the head coach has to at some point go. Because that means at some point the coaching philosophy has reached its reached its highest point. It's reached the point of no return. You've said everything that needs to be said, and a change needs to happen. So I think it's highly possible that there's going to be an ultimatum, or there's already. How does he drop it? Come on, bro. Why is this game doing this to Bateman? Okay. If it was 2023 Bateman, fine. But not 2024 Bateman. Come on, bro. He's catching those nowadays. 2024 Bateman's catching those. Come on, let's be fair to him. All right. You know what? I'm a wait, that's Flowers. That's Flowers. That's Flowers. I was about to force feed it to Bateman just to make a point.
Well covered on that play. Really not a large window for him to sneak that.
But yeah, Harbaugh, I personally feel that Harbaugh could be playing for his contract. There's been no talks about an extension, and I hope they don't give him an extension. Dude, what the? Oh no, you guys! Why they not? Likely was supposed to run that route, and he just decided to do what exactly? Not run the route? Thanks, buddy. Love that. Please continue to do that more often. Oh, snap this now, snap this now, snap this now. They're not in position. They're not. Oh, God. Why does the game let them get in position before you snap the ball? God. It's too late now. Look at this. Ah, God. But, yeah, I think Harbaugh could very well be playing for his job this upcoming season. If results aren't showcased in the postseason, Harbaugh may not be coming back, which obviously I and many others are fine with. God. Cross!
You feel unlucky?
This guy
Well, do you? Well, he should, because quarterback got away with one right there.
But yeah, we're going to see what happens, though. We will ultimately see what happens with Harbaugh and all this other stuff. At the end of the day, the Ravens are going to do what they always do. It's going to be
you can earn your money in the NFL in all sorts of different
it's going to be what it is.
In a league where you're just not
And we'll just go from there for the most part. We'll just go from there. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, God. Good job, Likely. Break off, break off. Spin move. Oh, bro, freak God. Keep spinning, keep spinning. But yeah, that's just how it is. This is how it is. I don't think Harbs will be Ravens head coach in 2026. We'll see what happens. It's not all on the Harbs in the playoffs, too. It's Lamar's fault. It's a lot of people's fault. It's Lamar's fault for his turnovers in the playoffs, which for some reason Lamar fans just want to keep pretending aren't happening. I love Lamar to death, but he's turned the ball over a lot in the playoffs. And in the division round against the Bills, whether we end up winning that game or losing, who knows how that game would have gone. Many of us felt we would have won if Lamar doesn't turn the ball over twice. I want to reiterate, the Ravens had 8 offensive possessions in that game against the Buffalo Bills. They did not punt once. So in the 8 offensive possessions they had, they punted a total of 0 times. 5 of those 8 possessions, they scored 25 points. The other 3 possessions, turnover, turnover, turnover. If Lamar doesn't turn the ball over twice, we're not down 21-10.
Yeah, you just kind of feel
so you gotta hold your quarterback responsible for putting you in that position in the first place, which is what he did. And there's been times when Lamar Jackson himself has made some boneheaded decisions. Now again, many of us heading into this season have a little bit of optimism that Lamar will be able to overcome these issues he had in the playoffs because of how he played the second half against Buffalo. For the first time in his career in the postseason, he got over the turnovers. He's not the reason we blew it in the second half. That goes to Mark Andrews. But Lamar played a beautiful second half. Everyone saw it and said, you know what? It's the first time you can say in Lamar Jackson's career in the playoffs where he turned the ball over and actually was able to overcome the turnovers because he got over the turnovers and just started playing like the MVP quarterback that we know him to be. Like one of the best quarterbacks in football where he just locked in and did what he needed to do. Just in time for his reliable tight end, his security blanket, to fold in the biggest moment of the season. But yeah, Lamar definitely gets some blame. Guys like Mark Andrews providing you nothing in the postseason through an 8-year career also get to be blamed. Guys consistently dropping passes in January, they get to be blamed. Play calling, gotta be blamed. Offensive line not protecting the quarterback, gotta be blamed. And at some point, I've tried to make excuses for them. The defense has to be held accountable for creating no turnovers. The last time this defense had a turnover in the playoffs was 2020 against the Tennessee Titans when Marcus Peters picked off Ryan Tannehill to give us the win in the wild-card round. That is the last time the Ravens had a turnover in the postseason. Are you kidding me? The 2023 Ravens defense led the league in takeaways and couldn't get not one turnover in 2 playoff games. That makes no sense.
He's on the move.
The Ravens defense has to be held accountable for not being able to create turnovers. That matters because it keeps putting our offense in positions where they got to go out in the field and go 75 plus yards. Dude, the opening drive of the wild card round against the Pittsburgh Steelers, because our special teams, by the way, is garbage as well. They don't help us at all. So the opening drive, I was there in Baltimore when it happened. Opening drive of the game against the Steelers in the wild card round. Baltimore went 96 yards. Why would I want to in fact, both drives, they had to drive 80 plus yards. Why would I want to have to constantly see the Ravens have to drive 75, 80 plus yards on offense in the postseason? Why can't our defense create any turnovers? Why is it always got to be the offense doing something? Defense can make stops here and there. Obviously, I love the stops and I want them to keep making those stops. But can we get some turnovers, please? Because that's what's needed. So, yeah, you're right. It's not all on hardball. It's not. It's a lot of people. But the head coach takes a lot of the blame when things become consistent. I've always said this. When players are making mistakes on the field, it starts with them. But when players are consistently making the mistakes, the coach has to start getting the blame. So when the Ravens are consistently turning the ball over in the playoffs, I hold the players responsible for consistently turning the ball over in the playoffs. But when they start making the same mistakes over and over again consistently, be it the turnovers, be it the way they execute two-point conversions, be it the way they execute on defense, when that starts happening consistently, I have to start taking a look at the head coach because I have to start asking you, what have you done to try to fix this problem? What have you been doing to try to stop this issue? When this becomes consistent, that's when we look at the head coach. This is nothing new. Harbaugh isn't exempt from this, and this is nothing new. It's not like it's a specific thing for John Harbaugh. This is how guys ultimately lose their jobs. When a team is consistently making mistakes and underperforming, a coach loses a job, whether he's good or bad. At some point, Andy Reid was fired from Philadelphia because the team was underperforming and they weren't doing their jobs. They were way too good in a lot of years to underperform the way they were. That's just the reality of the situation. If Andy Reid can be fired by the Eagles, I don't see how John Harbaugh can be released or not re-signed by the Ravens. But like I said, the Ravens don't like to fire people, so if there's any time they move off of John Harbaugh, this would certainly be the moment. What do? They just don't give him a contract extension. They move off of him. That's not firing him, that's just moving off of him. His contract ended. They'll let his contract finish before they'll fire John Harbaugh. They're not going to do him like that. So if Harbaugh's going to leave, it would have to be after this season. If there's any time to think John Harbaugh is going to leave, it would have to be after this season. Because after this, if he doesn't get a contract extension by the end of the year, I would suspect that he's leaving. The only thing that would change that is if the Ravens win the Super Bowl, which I don't know if they'll do next year. And I'm not even going to sit back and act like I believe it's going to happen with the way things have been going. Like I said, I love the players and stuff, but I said years ago I don't believe they're going to win the Super Bowl with Harbaugh at this point. So because of that, oh God, because of that, I'm suspecting that ultimately, I'm suspecting that the Ravens will probably fall short in the playoffs again, and a lot of Ravens fans will be pissed off again, and that's just how it's going to go. What type of was that? That wasn't even who I was going for. 56-yard field goal and take a shot here. I'll take a chance. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Do you think Andrews will be here when the season starts? I honestly don't know. With the way EDC was talking and the way that press conference was going, it's very possible we don't see Andrews return. It's very possible he won't be on this team. They may look to trade him. I don't know what's going to happen. But with the way the conversation's been going, I have doubts that he's going to be here. I really do have doubts that he's going to be here. And because of these doubts, there's a chance, because of these doubts, I'm not fully sure if we should look to talk about Andrews as much in terms of what he's going to do next season. I don't know if he's going to be here in the first place. I don't even know what to make of the conversation surrounding Mark Andrews, because I'm not even sure he's going to be here. But we'll see what happens. If Alexander isn't cut, good splash would be Brian Murphy. They're going to make a splash play for a corner one way or another. I don't think they're going to draft a corner. And TJ Tampa is not just going to get that position off the bat. It's just not going to happen. Andrews is gone. They need to save cap space. I'm assuming he's going to be gone. Like I said, I don't. With the way EDC talked about him, he's most likely going to be gone. So, Ravens fans, just prepare for the goodbye to Mark Andrews. Love him, appreciate him. He's been the most productive tight end in franchise history and arguably the best tight end in franchise history. But, you know, it's a business. Sometimes the business needs to take precedent over how things go when it comes to a football team. Who do you think would take Harb's job that's in the building? I think it could be Mac. I mean... Zach Orr. It's possible that it could be Zachary Orr. What would piss me off is if we waited too long. There's no updates on Tucker. What would piss me off is if they actually move off of him after the if they move off of Harbaugh after this season. It would piss me off because I'd be if they move off of Harbaugh after this season and then go decide to choose Zachary or somebody from the coaching staff and just upgrade them, it would piss me off a little bit because I would be sitting here saying, why didn't you do that for Mike McDonald? Like, if you would have told, I don't know, maybe they did. Maybe they did, and Mike McDonald was like, I'm not waiting 2 years. Maybe they did. I don't know. I can't speak on what the Ravens talked about when it came to Mike McDonald. But I personally feel that if they would have told Mike, listen, Harbaugh's contract ends in 2 years. When he's gone, we're going to give you the head coaching job. I felt that they told him that, he would have stayed. But at the same time, I don't know if they told him that and he still sat back and said, I want to be a head coach. Now, I don't know. So, you know, still a bit peeved that we lost McDonald, and I prefer if he was the head coach of this team right now. Because I'm perfectly fine with Zach Orr staying as a defensive coordinator. I just felt like it'd be cool to have gone with a guy that had already showcased himself with the Ravens. If you're gonna hire within and upgrade within, then yeah, McDonald should have been that person. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Sometimes you got to be willing to wait. Yeah, EDC had to wait 12 years under Ozzie. He had to wait until Ozzie was ready to retire before he took over. So maybe they told McDonald, wait 2 years until Harbaugh's gone, and McDonald's like, no, I don't want to wait 2 years to be a head coach. I want to be a head coach right now. I don't know what it is. Either way, that's just how it goes. But anyway, guys, we are gonna have to cut this here.
Second down now, 7 to go.
I'm actually trying to finish this as quickly as possible because we gotta cut this here, gotta wrap this up here because I got a game to watch. Lakers, Celtics. It should be a good one. I expect it to be a good one. Should be a good one. Should be a fun one. I think the Celtics probably gonna take it tonight. Actually, I don't know who's playing for the Celtics. Do they still have anyone out? Lakers, I think they're missing they're missing somebody, one of their centers, or their only center. So I think they're in a situation where they're gonna be going full small ball. It's gonna be like the Houston Rockets when they had Russell Westbrook, or it's just gonna be like an all small ball type lineup, which isn't the worst thing in the world.
Go chase that QB out of bounds before he could get the first down.
But yeah, I have a gut feeling the Celtics gonna win, but I'd prefer if the Lakers win. I'm gonna be honest. I would prefer if the Lakers win this game. I would love to see Luka. It wouldn't be actual revenge in this situation because he's with the Lakers now as opposed to the Maverick, and I'm pretty sure any revenge that Luka has would be directed towards Dallas. But yeah, I think you know, Lakers will put up a great fight here. I'm just feeling the Celtics winning this tonight. I hope the Celtics lose. I'm a Heat fan. I hope they lose. I hope Luka drops 40 and LeBron has 35. I don't care about any let Luka has 40, LeBron has 35, Austin Reeves can have 15. Everybody can pitch in here and there, and they beat the Celtics. I'll be perfectly fine with that. But yeah, that's gonna happen. Because again, Lakers. But then again, the Lakers have been one of the best, if not the best team in basketball for like the last month and a half now. They've lost like maybe 3 games. In fact, they have a 13-game winning streak against teams above 500. So against, actually not above, teams 500 or better. So against teams 500 or better, the Lakers they're on a 13-game winning streak against teams 500 or better. The losses they've suffered have been against teams that are subpar or below average or whatever you want to say. The Lakers have really turned around their season. They really turned around their season over the last few months. You know, one thing that people have to understand is that the Lakers didn't just turn around overnight. It's not like they got Luka and everything changed. No, they've been playing great basketball when Anthony Davis was here. It probably started around December or January, like late December, early January was when the Lakers really started to turn around. You started to see them put more effort in defensively. AD started to play really well. And it looked like the Lakers was going to slowly climb their way back into being a contender with Anthony Davis. The problem is people didn't believe with AD the Lakers could go where they wanted to go. It felt like it's the same look they had previous years. So with this same look, how can you expect things to change if you're going to put out the same look? How do you expect them to go beat the Nuggets with that same look? Anthony Davis is who he is, and he's a top 10 player when he's at his best. Sometimes he plays like a top 5 player when he's playing his best basketball, and we know what he is as a great two-way player, both offensively and defensively. But it felt at some point the Lakers were not going to get to where they wanted to get to with Anthony Davis and LeBron. That duo needed to change. So even though the Lakers were playing great basketball with AD still there, it felt like a change needed to be happening. Not to mention, the Lakers didn't have a future. They did not have a future because LeBron, he doesn't have many more years left. He's going to be, he's closer to the end than the beginning, obviously. It's only a matter of time before LeBron eventually retires. We don't know when that's going to be. It's whenever he chooses it to be. But it's only a matter of time before LeBron retires. And when he does retire, the Lakers initially didn't have a future because, you know, for all we know, LeBron could retire in 3 years. And by then, Anthony Davis, by the time he retires, AD could be like 34, 35 years old. And you can't tell me a 34, 35-year-old AD is who you're going to build your future on. So they needed to figure out who was going to be the future of the Lakers. And luckily for them, they had a fairy godparent who decided to just grant their wishes and save the Lakers franchise from once again falling into irrelevancy. Because once LeBron's gone, it's only a matter of time until AD's gone. So you know what they needed? They needed a young superstar player to come out. And guess what? Their fairy godparent, by the name of Nico Harris, decided, you know what? We have a superstar player. What the heck? That's a terrible pass. We have a superstar player, a 25-year-old superstar player that just took us to the NBA Finals. What should we do with him? You know what? I think we should trade him to the Lakers for AD. Genius. Absolutely genius. Got a 25-year-old generational type superstar player, and your GM decides, let's trade him away after he just took you to the NBA Finals. I mean, you can't make it up. So the Lakers getting Luka completely changes the aspect because Luka and LeBron on offense is a complete monstrous team because of what they're able to do. It's a complete all-around game. Their ability to score, ability to shoot the three ball, their ability to play make for their teammates. It does so much. Not to mention Luka being there. Oh my God, Luka being there has been so great for LeBron. Luka being there has been so great for LeBron because I've never seen LeBron. LeBron has not had these type of easy looks since his days with the Miami Heat. I mean, I've watched LeBron get open looks, wide open looks from the three. Wide open looks from the three. Because Luka would take the ball at the top of the key. He would compress the defense because he's driving to the basket. The defense is collapsing on him because they know his ability to finish the basket. And then LeBron will be sitting at the top of the, be sitting in the corner or something. Luka literally compresses the defense. And then bam, he gives it right to LeBron at the corner for a three. There was a play where it was literally just LeBron and Luka passing it back and forth with them. The defenders, they didn't know what to do. Because the person guarding LeBron is watching LeBron, but Luka keeps backing into the paint. He keeps backing in. He's posting this guy. He's posting him up. He's posting him up. And Luka can obviously post up and just hit that fadeaway jump shot. So he keeps getting post up, and it's like, okay, do I go send help to Luka? Should I go send help? Should I go send help and double team Luka, or do I stay with LeBron? So every time they tried to double team Luka, Luka just passes out to LeBron that was sitting at the three-point line. And then LeBron will pass it right back to Luka because the defender would go right back to LeBron. So they did that twice, and then just as just as the shot clock's winding down, Luka pump fakes, passes it to LeBron, who's wide open for three, and he just splashes it. And I'm looking at this and saying, this is dangerous. If LeBron is going to get easy looks, I don't know what you can do with that. LeBron getting easy looks is the scariest thing in the world. Luka has allowed LeBron to get some of the easiest possible looks he has gotten since his days with the Miami Heat. That is scary. When you're in a situation where you can't put your complete focus on LeBron James and he can play off the ball because there's a guy that can dominate the ball and be a dangerous threat with it, that's where things start to get incredibly scary. And Luka right now, he's starting to ramp things up. He's starting to look like the Luka we expect to see. And once he gets fully comfortable, him and LeBron are going to be a monstrous duo that is going to terrorize they're going to terrorize the Western Conference. Don't know how they're going to fare against a team like OKC or Denver in a 7-game series without a center. Because again, without a center, I don't feel they can win the championship. But I am interested in seeing how they're going to fare though. I personally don't think they're going to be able to win the championship without a legitimate center. But I think they'll be a tough out for anybody. No question they'll be a tough out.
They rip off a big chunk of field, and it sets them up with first and goal.
Would have liked the Heat traded for Luka for Jimmy. That wasn't going to happen. Not in this or the next world. At the end of the day, nobody even knew this was happening. Nico Harrison told maybe 2 teams. I think the two teams he told obviously was the Lakers, who he's working a deal for, the Mavericks, and I think the Bucks were that third team. So I think he approached the Mavericks and asked for Anthony Edwards in exchange for Luka, and the Timberwolves were like, no. And then I think he tried to get Giannis as well, and the Bucks weren't really going for that. Or maybe try to get Giannis in a pick or Giannis in a player, and the Bucks weren't going for that. So he also looked towards the Lakers and said, you know what? Straight up, give me Luka for AD. You can add a player if you want, I don't care. But I want AD, I'll give you Luka. And Rob Pelinka was like, yes, we will definitely work that out. So that's where we are with that. The Heat would have had no shot. In fact, if Nico would have told the entire league, if he would have just openly said we're actively looking to trade Luka, so every team can go send a package, he would have got some insane packages. Miami would have never had a shot to get him. There's no way they would have been able to trade Jimmy Butler there for Luke. It wouldn't have happened. Not in this or the next world. Mavs fumbled the bag since Kyrie's out for like 6 to 12 months. Dude, I've never seen a trade decimate a franchise so quickly the way this trade did. Like, they're already screwed for the future. Their present and their future screwed. They bet everything on this Kyrie-AD duo. And now both Kyrie and AD are done for the season. AD played 31 minutes in his debut game, just to suffer an injury, miss significant time, and ultimately miss the rest of this season. AD's not coming back. And then Kyrie, he tears his ACL. So now he's going to be out for the rest of the season. But here's what's worse. This is March. He suffered this in March. He's not coming back until maybe January. December or January is the earliest you can expect for him to come back. This is a long-term deal. This is like it's going to be like a 7 to 10 month type injury to recover from and get back to where you need to get back to. So he's not going to be back until like December or January. So he's missing the rest of the season, and then he's going to miss significant time into next season. So next year they may be screwed as well in terms of trying to win a championship. I don't know what they can do then. So they're in such a terrible situation. And then everything went to hell for them here because both Gafford and Lively got hurt. So it's like everybody they needed in their starting lineup got hurt but PJ Washington. Which is awful. So yeah, it is what it is with that. But you know what, guys? I gotta end it here. We started talking about basketball. That's how much I've gotta end it here. Just get down, Mahomes. We gotta end it here. We gotta end it here because we have a game to watch. We got the Lakers taking on the Celtics, and I expect it to be a good game. Can't even we're just trying to kill time. But yeah, just to wrap things up here, Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie Stanley is here for the next 3 years for the Ravens. They managed to get it done. They got him done on a deal. Ronnie Stanley isn't going anywhere. The Ravens have their left tackle, and everything's okay. Past that, the Ravens got to get ready for a free agent market that is going to be very eventful. It's going to be incredibly eventful as to how this free agency is going to go. There's a lot of great free agents out here this year. And if the Ravens want to make some legit moves, they have to go look and try to get some of these guys. But, again, this is the Ravens. I don't really trust them to go make those type of moves because they never really operate like that. They're going to be who they are, and I've accepted that. So we'll ultimately see how things go. We'll just go from there.
Look at this. He's setting up to throw. He's going to push one deep.
Jump Flowers. Nope. So yeah, we'll just go from there. Lakers are up 7-2 right now against the Celtics. And Luka just got fouled, so he's going to the free throw line. Game just got started. Lakers, yeah, up 7-2 right now. So yeah.
Flushed out of the pocket. On the run right,
Bro,
throwing
what
deep
a
down the
force.
side.
They won't let me get
Now just
comfortable.
3 seconds showing on the clock. Nearly an interception on that play. And that's going to leave him with a tough 3rd and long. This undoubtedly the final snap of what's already a decided contest. Jackson now on 3rd.
Damn it. Anyway, that should be game. But yeah, Ronnie Stanley's here to stay. Free agency is getting ready to start, and we'll hopefully see the Ravens make some moves. They're going to restructure some contracts for sure, but hopefully they do make some moves. Look at my green screen showing up for the last bit of this. It's fine. But hopefully the Ravens do make some moves. Hopefully they do get some guys. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see how things go. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Just wanted to give a quick take here. Tatum for 3. Clank. LeBron with a rebound. I just wanted to give some takes here about, or give my take about Ronnie Stanley signing that extension. Look at this. LeBron is wide open for 3. Thanks to Luke, he missed it. But, like, Luka puts so much pressure on a defense, you can end up having LeBron wide open for 3. That's just how things go. Good drive here by Jaylen Brown to get the layup, and now LeBron's coming down the court being guarded by Derek White. All right, Derek White is not guarding LeBron to the post. You're going to have to send help. They didn't send any help. What are you doing? What is Derek White supposed to do there? One-on-one in the post against LeBron? Of course he's going to make that. And now Jaylen Brown's going how did he miss that? Jaylen Brown point-blank layup, just missed it. Tried to bang it off the glass and just missed it. Now Brown's being guarded by Derek White again. He's working him in the post again. Somebody send help. Oh my God, they don't send help. Another basket for LeBron James. All right, Celtics, you're playing around. Timeout. Okay, no, there's no timeout. They're gonna go. They're gonna go. Jaylen Brown was on the floor for some reason. He tripped. They're gonna go. Okay, now that's just bad. Oh, beautiful move by Jason Tatum. Come on, man. Come on, bro. You knew damn well that was not going to work on Tatum. Luka, again, is collapsing the defense and gets it out. A nice pass there. Can you hit that three? Oh, my God, in and out. Oh, my God, in and out. Horford. Terrible shot. Oof. Austin Reeves with the ball here. You know what? I might actually, let me go do something quickly. I might actually want to live stream this game because I think I want to talk about the Lakers and Celtics right now. Nice. Nice finish. I'm going to wait. Timeout. Yeah, 14-6 here. Lakers up early. Timeout, Celtics. You know what? Let me go do a couple things first. And then I'm going to come back. I think I may want to live stream the Celtics and Lakers game right now. So give me a second. But yeah, this is it for this one. Ronnie Stanley, welcome back, my friend. Glad to have you for the next 3 years. And we'll see what the Ravens do in the offseason. I mean, not the offseason. We'll see what the Ravens do in free agency, which is coming up very soon. With that being said, guys, I'm going to see you later. I'm going to get some things set up, and then I'm going to start the stream for the Lakers and Celtics. Till